Hi, welcome to Jilly's Kitchen. Today we're going to make shepherd's pie. I'm going to do it in a 9x13 pan. Over here I have about a pound or so of hamburger, and I'm just browning it until it's almost all the way done. I have a little bit of salt and pepper on it. I have all of my seasonings lined up, all my vegetables. I know traditional shepherd's pie is just, at least for me growing up, was a can of tomato soup and canned green beans. But I put in other vegetables, and I kind of put in my own seasonings and flavorings. Gluten free, of course. So once your ground beef is most of the way done, I have 1 chopped onion and about 2 cloves of garlic. And what we're looking for is just to saute the onions and garlic a little bit. They won't get all the way translucent, but that's fine, because it's going to go in the oven after we're finished with this. But it will sit on the stovetop with a lid for quite a while too. So while that's going, I have a 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. I have 2, but I'm going to start with 1 and see. I add other liquids that I'll show you coming up, but I'm going to start with 1 for now, and then we'll go maybe with the second one, but not yet. In this large pot, I have about 13 potatoes, and they're almost to a boil. My grandma always said that, her mother always said that when you're making mashed potatoes, you add 1 per person and 1 for the pot. And I know there's not 12 people that are going to be eating dinner tonight, but for a 9x13, I figure 1 potato per pan. Well, if you cut it into 12, that's 12. 1 for the pot. That didn't make any sense. Sometimes I put a red pepper in here. You can add actually whatever you want. You can put mushrooms. Today I've got carrots and celery in here, and bite-sized pieces. You want them to all cook evenly, and we're just going to stir this around, and then we'll start adding some of our seasoning. And I'm going to add both cans of tomato sauce with that many vegetables. Oh, and my oven is just preheated to 350, so 2 of those. I have a Smokey seasonal salt. I'm going to add some of that in. I did put a little bit of salt and pepper on the hamburger, but I'm not adding a lot of salt because this is salt and pepper. I don't have exact measurements because it's just whatever looks good. This is thyme. That was about a teaspoon and a half, and a little more. I also have some oregano here. Use whatever spice you like. This is just what we like. I do have some dried mustard. About a tablespoon, maybe. And let's see, now for the liquid. So 2 cans of tomato sauce. That is not the best scraper to get these cans. I am going to add a little bit of water to each to get the remaining tomato sauce, and then pour in there 4 extra liquid. Help those vegetables soften up. And I like barbecue sauce in mine. Little bit of this sauce. A few dashes. And a little bit of maple syrup. I know this pan looks really full, but it will cook down. It's already cooked down a little bit with the vegetables. And I know it seems a little watery, but the carrots and the celery will absorb most of that liquid, or all of it. I do have peas and corn over there that were frozen. They're mostly thawed. I'll add those in after a lot of this is softened. But for now, we're going to put the lid on, and we're just going to let this simmer. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Let this simmer while the potatoes finish cooking, and they are almost boiling. I just stir it with the potato masher because it's a good stir. And again, 13 potatoes, water to cover about 2 inches, and 2 teaspoons of salt. And as soon as this is ready to mash, we'll mash those up. As soon as these are soft, I'll show you how it all comes together. Okay, so this has thickened up really nicely. I've been stirring it periodically, really thick. I'm actually going to add in the peas and carrots, peas and corn now. And just, they're still a little frozen. That's all right. And just let them warm a little bit through. I'm going to stir these in. I'm actually going to turn this heat off because we're done with that for now. So part of why I like to stir with my masher is when you're ready to test the potatoes, you can just lift up some, and then I'm looking for fork tender. They say knife tender, but a knife is sharp. So fork tender, and they're right where we want them to be. So I'm going to turn this off and drain this, and I'll come mash it right there. So I usually drain them, and then I put them back in the pan. I have probably about half a stick of butter, room temperature and cut up, and then season it however much you like it. Salt. Maybe a little more pepper. And start mashing. I'm short and I can't get the leverage. So once you've got them mostly mashed, scraping the bottom while you're at it. Oh, okay. So we didn't put very much butter in there for this large, but I always add mayonnaise to my mashed potatoes. Once in a while, I will add sour cream, but mayonnaise is always my go-to. And if it's still too dry after you mix all this in, you can add a little more milk or cream or whatever. But I also don't mind if they're a little dry because you're going to put them on top of essentially soup. So I'm just mixing this around, and I'm just going to make sure everything is mixed in the bottom. Sounds like a balloon animal over here. I think that looks good. And this is looking pretty good. Who doesn't love a big pot of mashed potatoes? All right, so this is ready and this is ready. I put this on foil lined cookie sheet. I'm not going to cover this with foil because everything is hot. So we're just heating everything through, which is already hot. And then we're going to put the cheese on top and melt that. Okay, so meat mixture first. I'm actually going to turn it sideways. Actually, we'll go this way so you can see too. So it usually ends up being the perfect amount for a 9 by 13. You could always make a smaller batch. And I just kind of start dolloping on. I don't care if it reaches all the way to the edge. I think it kind of gives it more room to breathe because it's going to bubble anyways. So just keep going I'm not worried if we have extra mashed potatoes. They'll never go to waste here. I feel like everything's leaning. Okay, now for the cheese. Maybe some more potatoes. Note to self, turn the fruit around so you know what's happening on the other side. Now that looks good. And the cheese we're putting on top tonight is whatever is left in the cheese drawer. I have 3 different bags that are all different kinds that are open, and we're just gonna go for it. That's all we need. Actually, I think I'm gonna finish up this cheddar too. Or not. Well, why not? And into the oven, I usually watch to see when it all kind of boils and all the cheese is melted, and when it's all heated through. Again, it's all hot to begin with, so I mean, you could wait until the cheese is melted, but I like the way the potatoes get, and they get a little bit baked. So in the oven. And I'll probably go about a half hour, and we'll show you what it looks like. I just took this out of the oven. It just barely stopped bubbling. I don't know if you can see, but it did spill over, so I'm glad I did the foil lined cookie sheet. So the potatoes got a little bit crispy on top, which I like. I don't know where to stand. Let's do this. And it always sets up better the next day. But it's actually holding a slice really well because of the thickened sauce. So there is my shepherd's pie. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.